All right. Well, welcome back to another edition of the Second Opinion Loan Officer podcast. I have a special guest with me today, a friend of mine for quite a few years, Bradley Brondt. Brad, actually, we are geek buddies. We ended up, we were at a Freedom Club event, I think, and we ended up just starting to nerd out. And I was like, oh my gosh, this guy is as nerdy, if not twice as nerdy as I am, and we were just going off. And I recently reconnected with you, and you built a really cool CRM built on Go High Level. And so I wanted to have this conversation for a couple of reasons. First of all, I think you're a very smart marketer, and the approach that you take or the approach that you took here I think is absolutely fascinating. And it's really smart the way you segmented this. And the last thing is that Go High Level is one of those CRMs that is being white labeled and repurposed and pushed out there. It's got a lot of flexibilities, and there's a real love-hate kind of relationship with it. But Brad, welcome to the show. I want to unpack what you're working on here today, maybe dispel some myths about the Go High Level platform, and just really get into your brain and figure out what you talk about, what you built here, and what you're trying to accomplish. So welcome, my friend.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me, Scott. As always, it's a pleasure. I'm pretty sure, just to kind of add to what you said, I'm pretty sure that most of our conversations start on Facebook Messenger, and it starts with some type of, we're overdue for a geek session, or we need to geek out. What's up?
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. No, it definitely is. It definitely is. I think last time we were talking about were we geeking out on QR codes?
Yeah.
I
Yep.
think
And
you would set up a bunch of stuff with QR codes and yeah, gosh, I don't that seems like it was a long time ago, but it couldn't have been that long ago.
yeah, and I'm pretty sure it was QR codes, and with what I was doing with those QR codes with High Level, I've been using High Level for. It was introduced to me by a marketer back in the beginning of 2020. So I've been kind of promoting it, talking about it, building it for quite some time. And I was using QR codes because I had a lot of different QR codes where it was driving people to like either some type of mortgage survey or to my mobile business card, or, like I was even on my mobile business cards, or on my business cards, I put a QR code so people can scan and save my information right into High Level. So yeah, I'm still doing a lot with QR codes. I think everybody should be.
I agree. I agree. I was QR codes are funny. That was I was in a kind of a networking group, and we would meet every Saturday. It was called Social Media Mastermind of Orange County. It started in 2007 in Orange County, California. And a friend of mine was works for Berkshire Hathaway now. He's a realtor, him and his wife. And we were talking about QR codes back in 2008, 2009. And I was the biggest hater. I was like, these things are stupid. Because back then, like, they weren't native to your phone. You had to download an app, and you had to open your phone, and you had to click it. And I was like, this is never going to catch on. And then COVID just changed everybody's mind about QR codes. And now it's one of the smartest marketing strategies, I think, out there.
Yeah, no, I agree. That was the biggest thing, is that now with the phone camera app, being able to scan the QR codes, that really made it easier for people to adopt. So,
Yeah.
and COVID with the restaurants and the menus and stuff like that. I mean, we were forced to use QR codes, right?
Yeah. Everybody in the world had to learn how to use QR codes.
Yeah.
So you do a lot of consumer direct?
I do. I mean, I do a safe, a mixture of consumer direct and, we did get a lot of referrals. So, we're doing the call your past client thing every 90 days, the partner acquisition, or whatever you want to call it, where you're reaching out to realtors. And, I do a lot of organic stuff, but I do, like, right now I'm toying around with Google. For like ever, I was running all Facebook stuff, and My Facebook account got shut down because of I was just doing too much in Facebook. So I'm in the process of setting up a new business manager and stuff. But I figured while I was down, I'd start toying around with the Google idea. But I'm always running some type of consumer direct ad. I think we all should be. I mean, like, let's face it, like Best Buy and, think of all these big, box stores, like, they're getting that organic traffic, but that doesn't stop them from running paid advertising. We
Yeah.
always got to be, we always got to be advertising ourselves. Sorry, I changed the screen too, by the way.
Oh, no, that's fine. I kind of want to start, to dig into this. So
Yep.
you started playing with this a few years ago. You said somebody introduced you to it 2020. It's not that long ago. It's only a few years, but knowing you, you put about 5 years worth of work into building this thing out. Kind of where was your business at the time? And when you saw this, where did you see the opportunity? And, because one of the unique things you built here is what we're talking about is a lead to application CRM. You didn't try to build something that's going to run your entire mortgage business. You did, quite frankly, what I think is the most important part. It's taking it from prospect to contact to getting that application, and now they're kind of in your pipeline. But prior to that, they're just sort of in your hopper, right? They're
Yeah.
kind of top of funnel. So talk to me a little bit about where your business was and when you saw this. Kind of where did you start? I know this took you a lot of years of trial and error to build. So let's kind of start at square one.
Yeah. So, I mean, first, before I started using this software, my business was disconnected like everybody's. I was running everything from lead to close out of Salesforce, which I built that pretty well, but still, it still has you could be as smart as you want and as great as you can be and have all the connections in the world with like coders to build the Salesforce platform you want, but it's still like, there's still a lot of pieces missing when it comes to the marketing aspect. So I was using Salesforce, I was using Agent Legend, I was using ClickFunnels, I was running Facebook ads. I was doing lead pops, great company, awesome, mortgage survey. So like I was doing all these different things, and then you needed Zapier to connect everything.
Yeah.
And it was back in like 2000. I'll tell you where it really originated. It was back in 2020, the beginning of COVID. I was at home working in my basement and just trying to come up with new strategies. So I started doing this thing where I would export my entire friends list from Facebook, and I had this goal of sending 30 like video DMs a day. And it would just depend on who I'm sending it to. I would have a different offer or message. If it was like a real estate agent, I was trying to connect with them. And so I started seeing I'm friends with all these digital advertising guys, and I'm sending them the same stuff. Like, hey, we're connected. I see you work in digital advertising. I'm doing some pretty cool stuff in my business. And if you're ever, interested in jumping on a call and kind of geeking out, I'd love to share some things I'm doing and maybe learn some things about you and what you're doing. And I started doing this, and all these guys are using High Level because that's what it was. It was really a system built for agencies, right? People that you're paying to run ads, and now they have this bolt-on system that they can essentially help you convert those leads, right? So that's kind of where it started. And at first I was like, I remember telling the guy, I'm like, oh, I'm using Agent Legend. It does it all. And, so he sent me his affiliate link, and I jumped on for the 15-day trial, and I was like blown away. I'm like, man, I can get rid of ClickFunnels. I can get rid of Agent Legend. I can get rid of this. And it took me a while to like fully buy into it, but I was still using it for those things like building landing pages, doing some automated follow-up. Like I was still running lead to close out of Salesforce. It wasn't until probably like 12 months ago where I like completely separated my process, where I'm like, okay, this is going to be my fulfillment system, which is Salesforce. This is going to be my lead to application system. And the thing about it is, using this, I can add unlimited users at no additional cost. Like, so I can have my VAs working out of this. I can have my business development reps, my sales guys working out of this. And then all I need for Salesforce is like the loan partners, right? Because they're the ones taking application to close. So like, that's kind of where it originated. And I started playing with the system, and it just has so much to offer. And that's, I think, like that was the epiphany, is that there's no mortgage CRM that actually can align with you in a way that you can become a true marketer, to have all the, like, to build a webinar funnel and the webinar follow-up and all the different funnels you can create. And then the way you can tag people and work opportunities, which we'll get into, but long story short, that's kind of where I guess,
Well, my CRMs are one of those crazy things because you can almost set your watch by. I'm in some big mortgage groups, and um, about once a week somebody will post, "Hey, what's the best CRM?" And that's like saying, "Hey, what's the best car?" It's like it depends, and almost all CRMs are well, but all CRMs are a tool, but even more than that, they're like a toolbox, and you have to know what all the tools are. You have to know how to use all the tools. You have to build it the way that you want to build it, and things like Django. I got into Django as well. I use Infusionsoft in my on part of my business. I use Bonzo. I'm a big fan of Get Bonzo. I think they did a really good job of simplifying it. It's not anywhere near as robust as something that you built. But I also call that a communication automation platform. That's what I call Bonzo. It's not, I don't consider it a true CRM, customer relationship manager. It's that contact piece. But the other thing about CRMs and this is going to go for yours as well. This came out of your mind, so you built it the way that you think about the process. And there's a lot of CRMs that are out there that are built out, we'll call them, but they're built out according to whoever decided, like, they're most of the time they're not actually mortgage people, they're database people, and they're like, well, this is the logical way data flow should be. But that's why I kind of like the way that you did this, because you've got that really, really good sort of systematic, logical thought process. And you're a marketer in the mortgage industry, so you're building this to meet your needs. Anybody that's not familiar with like an Agent Legend, that was a really early ringless voicemail, text message, email sequences until they answered, and then it shut it off. And that was kind of the rise of that was one of the first ones that was sort of the rise of this type of follow-up. So let's dive into this thing, and why don't you kind of walk through sort of what you built, why you built it, and how it works, because you did a really good job with this.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it. Yeah, we'll jump into it. So I like to start with, first of all, like, back to this, Cerberus and high level, like anybody can get high level and build it out on their own. I like to compare this, like anybody who's listening to this that's a Salesforce user, they know you can get Salesforce or you can get Django. And what Django did was it made it easy for the individual user to use Salesforce without all the work, effort, money paid to coders, things of that nature. So what I did is I took high level and made my own version of it for mortgage, to kind of simplify and make it easy for people that want to use high level as a mortgage, loan officer or whatever the case is, and they don't want to do all the work that's involved. So just to kind of get into go high level, like the actual stack, because one of the reasons I got this is because everything is integrated in one place. You don't have to worry about Zapier as much. There are some Zaps that I make into the system, but for the most part, everything happens within the system. And I was able to cut down my monthly spend on tech stack, like big time, right? So just really quick, there's a unified inbox, which is pretty cool because you can actually manage all types of conversations. So WhatsApp, text, email, phone calls, Facebook Messenger, and your Instagram DM, and your Google My Business. So like if you're running ads to Google and people come through Google My Business, it's going to come right into the conversations tab. If, how many people, myself, like I would have so much trouble managing my Facebook Messenger for my business pages, because unfortunately, unless something's changed and I'm just not aware of it, you can't have like a merged mail inbox for Facebook. Like you're either in this one, your personal one, which is where most people live, or you got to like switch over to the business one. And what would happen is I would get messages on Facebook and see them like a week later where somebody wanted, like where somebody was interested in getting a loan. So now like you can connect your business page right to the system here, and anybody that sends you a message on Facebook or your Instagram DM, as long as you have your Instagram connected to your Facebook business page, which you should, everything's going to come into that unified inbox, which is great. Because now if you want to have people responding to your messages for you, you don't have to give them the login credentials for every social media account you have, which also is not great anyway, because Facebook recognizes when there's people logging in from different IP addresses in different locations, and then, they can, essentially view your account as suspicious, and it could present issues, which I'm going through myself for other reasons.
So you can respond to all of those, to messages from all those social platforms?
Yeah, correct. You can even respond. You can even create triggers. So like if I went on, say, Instagram and did a video about buying a home, I could have that call to action that says, hey, if you're interested in taking the next step, just send me the word buy to my DM. And then I can have a trigger that if I get an Instagram message that has that exact keyword, I can have like an automated follow-up.
Yeah,
right?
Triggers a campaign that's relevant to the messaging that they saw in order for them to take the action. And that's what's so important. And that's what's impressive with what you built. Because if you really get into CRMs, and I was just going through this with Noah on our Bonzo, is you really gotta you gotta customize. You really want to customize that conversation. You don't want to lose that trust. If somebody trusts you enough to take action, that messaging needs to be consistent. It's like, oh, hey, I'm glad you saw my Instagram post. Like you're responding to the Instagram post. Now, does this connect like emails, like a Gmail integration? I know there's some really cool things out there like Pipedrive, I think, that does like a Gmail integration so that your email correspondence with that consumer is also kept in the same place.
Yeah, so they do have a dual sync. It's very new, and I haven't, just because I don't like to implement things that are new. I like to see where it breaks and then they fix it, and then so it's kind of, to me, even though it's live, it's still kind of in a beta mode. I'm not personally using that feature, but my clients, some of them are, because the feature is available in their business settings where they can just toggle it on. So yeah. So real quick, we'll just run through these things just from a high level. Web chat, you actually get
I get it. High level.
You get a snippet of code where you can put like a chat widget on your website, and now when people communicate with that, it comes right into the system. So like we're running Google ads right now. The last 3 leads that we got, that we took applications on, all corresponded with the web chat. They didn't even go through one of my lead funnels.
Wow.
Missed call, text back. We have a workflow design that when somebody calls into your Twilio number, if they're not already tagged, like, so if they have no tags, which would imply that it's probably the first time they're calling into your business. If the call is missed, it's going to automatically respond to them via text and give them a link so that they can pick a calendar appointment to book with you, whether a consumer.
So it's going to look up the database. It's going to see if that record exists, see if it has any existing sequences or campaigns tied to it. If not, it's going to add it.
Correct. So yeah, so like what it'll do is it'll just look to see if there's tags or not. Because that's the cool thing as we get into talking about workflows. The thing I like about this is these workflows aren't linear. Like most systems, and there's a lot of newer systems now that might be similar to this, but like Agent Legend, for instance, it was just a linear activity, like voicemail, text message, email, voicemail, text message, voicemail, where this actually has conditional logic. So it can say, does this person have tags? No, then go down this path. If they do, go down this path. So the path that if they don't have tags would send that automated message out to them. Right.
Yeah.
There's pipelines, so you can actually manage your opportunities. It's like one of those Kanban or Kanban, however you pronounce that, views where you can
I
kind of,
don't know either.
where you can like drag the cards.
Yeah, the pipelines.
Yeah. So, but that the pipeline thing is cool, but like when you get a lot of opportunities, you really can't manage from the pipeline. It's really the pipeline just helps because then you can create smart lists based on the stage and the status and what pipeline they're in. There's a social planner. I don't talk about this often, but they do have like their own version of Hootsuite or whatever other, comparable social planners. And it actually connects to like Twitter, TikTok, Facebook, Google My Business, Instagram, LinkedIn. So you have like 6 social media channels that you can connect to, and then you can plan all your posts, right? It does have CRM capabilities, so you can, take notes, you can create, tasks for follow-up, you can schedule appointments right from the system. There's a funnel builder. We did build all the funnels that I think you really need. You have a website builder. There's a form builder, survey builder. So form, just like, lead forms, or survey builder, like Survey Gizmo, funnel builder, like ClickFunnels. Like these are the internal versions of those other softwares that are comparable, right?
Wow.
The workflows are pretty much the backbone of the system. That's going to, automate the tagging, automate the follow-up, and putting people on campaigns and opportunities and stuff like that. It does have email marketing. I do all my email marketing out of this system. So it has a very nice HTML email builder, and then you can send like your mass emails, right? It has a phone dialer. So I actually built dialers in the system, which we'll talk about, so that you can actually, get rid of like phone burner, things of that nature. There's text marketing. It also has reporting, which I'm big on for tracking your KPIs. You can actually, see your lead reports. You can look at Google Analytics right from within the system. You can look at your call reports. You can even look at appointment reports to see how many appointments were booked, how many showed, which I think is big because we need to focus on our KPIs, not just like the lagging ones, right? Not just the ones where how many applications we did, but like what are we doing, the things that it takes to get more applications or have more conversations, more at bat. There's a blog, so you can hook a blog right up to your website. And there's reputation management. There's an integration, there's a direct integration with Google My Business and Facebook. So now if anybody writes you a review on Google or Facebook, the reviews come right into the system, and you can reply to those reviews right from within the system. You don't even have to go to Google My Business.
Oh, wow.
And we actually built out an entire workflow that automates the review request when people close.
All right.
So that's I think from a bird's eye view, I think I summarized most of what you get using Go High Level. I might have missed a few things, but for the most part, this is it. So you're probably questioning, most people question, should I purchase GHL, Go High Level, right? And I say absolutely. If you have time to implement it, if you're tech savvy, if you have access to coders, because there's going to be some custom coding if you want the system to work really well. And the last question is, can you map out a system that will perform seamlessly? Because like I said, the workflows are the backbone of the system. So when this happens, that happens, and you can really, work your opportunities and things of that nature. And I just think that way. So just want to put that out there. Right.
Yeah. That's really the most important part is being able to visualize and map out what that entire customer journey looks like at that stage of the buying process. And really just thinking, just knowing what it can do and thinking the entire thing out, and then just building around it instead of just there's smoke, let's pour water on it. It's like actually thinking it all out.
Exactly, man. And that's kind of like, for a small additional fee of what you'd pay Go High Level, you can get Cerberus CRM, and it's all built for you. And that's kind of what I'm implying here is that, why Cerberus CRM? Because you're getting the Go High Level tech. There's no work. It's already built for you, and it's tried and tested. Because let's face it, I run a mortgage business. There's a lot of guys out there and gals that are offering GHL, but they're marketers. They don't know what it's like to run a mortgage business, and it's pretty much just a glorified Facebook lead follow-up system, and that's it. Like, they haven't taken in other things into consideration, like partner acquisition and getting referrals from our past clients, and all of those things that we need in addition to just the automated lead follow-up for Facebook forms, right?
Can we get under the hood of this thing and see some of the things that you've done?
I mean, if you want me to take this off, you want me to change my
Well,
screen?
no. Do you have some of the on this deck? Do you have some of your flows or some of your campaigns?
No, I didn't put it in here, but I was kind of going to talk through it.
Sure.
Whatever you want
Okay.
to do, man. I mean, I can change whatever you want to do.
No,
So
go ahead and talk through it. This is really good so far.
yeah, because I like to get in rabbit holes when I start doing the
Yeah.
I'll be here forever. So either way, like I said earlier, the workflows are the backbone of the system. So I have multiple like different systems within the system. So there's system workflows, which there's basically four. So number one is your power dialer. So I have power dialers built for doing partner acquisition, for calling your sphere of influence, for calling your past clients. And then I have a basic power dialer that if you want to go to a smart list and load those people into a dialer, you can do that. Right. Then we have actual, what I call system workflows. And it's the basic stuff. Like if somebody replies stop to a text message, or they unsubscribe from an email, or there's an email that bounces. Like I said earlier, I send out thousands of emails a week. And as you know, like if you get a high bounce rate or a high unsubscribe rate, it's going to your email is going to get flagged. Now your deliverability is not as high because your reputation drops. So like we've designed this in a way that when we're loading the contacts into the system initially, we're going to run them through like a 0 bounce. And then anybody that's going to potentially bounce, we're just going to add a bounce tag from the very beginning. Right. And then as you work the system, when you're sending emails, it's going to apply the bounce tag if they bounce. It's going to apply the unsubscribe tag if they unsubscribe. This way, you can actually filter when you're building your email list, so that for people that don't have those tags, right? There's workflows in the system folder that's basically, it sends out the birthday email automatically, right? The missed call text back is a part of the system workflow, right? Then we have an appointments workflows that are within the system. So if you've ever used Calendly, you understand how Calendly works. So this system has its own version of Calendly. It's very similar. But I build out all the workflows so that when somebody books an appointment, it's going to send all the automated confirmations and reminders leading up to like a minute before the appointment. But there's also a no-show and a cancellation workflow. So if you mark the appointment as a no-show or a cancellation, it's going to automatically start following up with that person to try to reschedule them. Right. And there's tags that I created too for consult. So like if somebody's a no-show or a cancellation, it's going to add that tag like consult no-show. That way, if you want to, make it a part of your process, that every 30 days you send an email to everybody that has that tag to say, hey, do you have time? Can we reschedule that meeting that we missed? Right. So there's a few different things you could do with that. And then moving on to the consumer folder, the consumer workflows are managing opt-ins, nurture, and reputation. So the opt-ins, we have a lot of different trigger points. So depending on whether you're running a Facebook ad or you're using one of our funnels, if they visit your website, there's different loan products. So FHA, conventional, USDA, VA, there's different set for purchase and refi. So anytime somebody opts in, the system, what it's going to do is it's going to tag them. And we're using what if statements. So the way we look at tags for like the consumer, for instance, there's two sets of tags. One is group, which puts them in the consumer group. So this way you can market to all your consumers. And then there's stage tags. One is lead, one is client, one is closed client. So the way the system works is when they come in, if they don't have a client and closed client, then it's identifying that this person is a lead. Right. So it's going to add the lead tag. If they have it, it's going to bypass adding that lead tag. When somebody takes an application, which means you're marking an opportunity as one, because again, it's lead to application, that process is going to drop the lead tag and add a client tag if they're not already tagged as closed client. Right. And then what you're doing, like I use Jungo. So like when a loan closes, I have a Zap that every time a loan closes, it shoots that information back into here, and it like automatically sends them on a review request campaign and then retags them as a closed client. The idea with the tags is that most people get it wrong. They have a million different tags. Like I've looked under the hood of KV Core. I meet with agents and they have like, I don't know, 30,000 tags. And it's like, now you make, how do you uncomplicate that? Cause it's like, okay, what are you going to send an email to 30 different tags, 30,000 different tags, whatever. So like the way we work our system is there's only 3 stage tags, which is the life cycle, and they can never go back, which is why I have the what if statement. So when they come in, it's going to sign the contact to the user. It's going to tag them. It's going to create an opportunity on the buyer or refinance pipeline, depending on what their objective is, right? And then it's going to send out an immediate text message from your quote unquote assistant, right? So mine is Kristen. So you might get a message, hey, Scott, this is Kristen. You recently inquired about, our USDA loan, and I just wanted to see if you had some time to get you scheduled with a team member. That's not the exact verbiage, but something along those lines.
Do you have a different assistant for like different ads? I remember I'm really dating myself, but when you would do like print advertising, you would put a fake name in there to ask for so that you knew it was coming off of that ad. Like you couldn't track newspaper and yellow page ads and things like that, so you had to do crazy stuff like that.
Well, the funny thing that you saying that is, no, I don't, but you can also purchase like tracking numbers in here. So you can buy your like regular Twilio number, but then you can also buy other numbers. So like me personally, I have one for Google, one for Facebook, one for this.
Got
like
it.
If you're doing a newsletter, like when I was sending mailers out every month, I had a specific number so they get tagged with mailer if they come in on that number, right?
Yeah. You are just a master of data organization. That's what I love about this is, you talk about tags. I know a lot of people think, tags are a sorting mechanism. Like, no, they're triggers for workflows and processes, and they are sorting mechanisms to an extent, but there's also an action or an activity that's required around that tag, because that tag represents a stage of the prospect.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing to add to what you said. I use it for both. So there's tags, there's group tags, and there's stage tags. That's to identify how to market this at the contact level, right?
Yep.
And then the rest of the tags are all system tags. So there's consult tags, partner acquisition tags, and all those is to manage the workflows that are working in the back end. So this workflow knows should they be here or not, right? Which we'll kind of get into. Talking tags, like I have a nurture tag, which is a system tag. So like what happens is this consumer opt-in, they get that immediate message, and then it waits 2 hours. And if there's no response in 2 hours, it adds them to a nurture sequence. We have a nurture sequence for buyer and one for refi. And there's 2 paths, and it goes down one path if they have the nurture tag, it goes down the other if they don't. So what happens is we only send people down a certain nurture sequence one time, and that's it. So like what happens is if a buyer comes in, they get that immediate message. Then 2 hours later, they go in the buyer nurture sequence. And then what it'll do is say, do they have the nurture tag already? If they don't, then it goes down the left side. And the first thing it does is adds the nurture tag. And then they get an email about, hey, or they get a message about, hey, I saw Kristen wasn't able to book you. Just wanted to see if you had some time to meet, this, that, the other thing. And then they're going to get an email after that. And all of the messaging is something that would be appropriate to somebody you've never spoken to or has never been in your process. Once that nurture tag gets added, it doesn't matter if they come in as a buyer or a refinance, because now when they go into that nurture sequence again for a second, third, or beyond time, it's going to see that they've been nurtured. So we want it to be more personal. Like, hey, Scott, I saw Kristen wasn't able to schedule you. 2 days later, hey, Scott, I know, we all get busy. Just wanted to check in with you. Like, it's all more personal follow-up, right?
Yeah.
So then there's the last part of the consumer workflows is reputation. So like when somebody closes, you can, and I tell people, if you don't have a direct integration like I do with Jungo, if we can't directly integrate when somebody closes from your other system to this system, then it's pretty easy, because I provide my clients with a data map that they can use for consumers, partners, and recruits. So it's really just a matter of going into your LOS, building a report with just the fields for these 6 or 7 rows that you need. And then once a month, run that report for all closed data for the last 30 days, and then import that into Cerberus, and then add them to the review request workflow and to the past client power dialer, right? And then that's going to do all the tagging. It's going to send out the automated request. And then with the reputation workflows, if somebody writes a positive review, you mark it positive, it automatically re-tags them, right? Because there's reputation tags as well. So when the request is sent, it's going to tag them as like review requested, right? And then if you mark that they wrote a positive review, you can respond to the review right from within the system if it's being left on Facebook or Google, which is super cool, because now you don't have to go there, right? And that, I feel like a lot of people don't do that. And I think that's big. With your visibility on Google is businesses that are actually replying to the reviews. It's going to help with, your organic find, right? So you can reply to those reviews right from within the system, and then you can mark it positive or negative so that the system automatically sends out the right correspondence, and it'll re-tag the people. The coolest thing about this is that a high percentage of people don't write the review. So now once a year, like say in December, you can put a campaign together that anybody that has the review requested tag, to send them a series of emails over the next 3 weeks to encourage them to write a review. And that if they do, they will be put into a drawing to win our yearly giveaway of, I don't know, Amazon gift card or whatever. I did this when I first got Google My Business, and I had 50 reviews in 3 weeks by doing this process.
Wow.
So now you could turn it into a yearly thing. And the cool thing about it is, if you write a review, you have a chance to win every year, because we pick from everybody that's ever written us a review. Right.
Oh, nice. Nice. So you're permanently in the pot.
Yep.
Once you write a review. That's really cool. And then once a year you give Amazon cards or Starbucks cards or whatever to a handful of lucky reviewers. That's really smart, because a lot of people don't think about that lifetime value, that LTV of their database. And like, once you get, there's a nurture process that goes from just a closed client to a fan, to a raving fan, to an evangelist. There should be some effort put into loving on your past clients, as Carl White likes to say. Loving on your past clients and slowly moving them into fan and raving fan and evangelist mode by just staying engaged with them, with your quarterly dials, your annual drawings, that's such a smart. It's such a smart way to approach your past clients. But so many loan officers, so many originators, like you said, you've got data on islands. You're only in a tool because you have a specific job to do, but we're dropping the ball on the relationship building. We're dropping the ball on making sure that we get the highest number of leads converting into conversations, even if they're not ready now. Still being in front of them and touching them and getting them into a long-term nurture campaign. Let's keep going through this. We want to keep this under an hour, but I want to keep unpacking this, because this is the stuff that I wanted people to see, is the thought behind how you built this. Because everybody's like, oh, I just want a CRM. I want a CRM. But my first question to all of them is, well, what exactly are you trying to do? Like, where are you getting your business from now? How do you want to get your business? How is the data going to get into the CRM? What are you going to do with it afterwards? So a lot of this sounds like it's kind of coming through either your DMs or your emails or your messages or some of your marketing flows. But it's just as easy, I would assume, to your realtor partner texts you a lead, and you manually inputted into the system, and then it's in its process. Is that right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I have something that's going to blow your mind with that part once we get into partner
All right,
acquisition.
cool.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Let's keep going through this.
All right. So then we have partner workflows, which is partner acquisition, which we're going to talk specifically about. And then we also have an opt-in, like if people want to run an ad, I found that they don't really work. Like you're better off just doing like retargeting ads to like a realtor audience. But like if you wanted to run an ad from like a lead form, you can do that. We do have the workflow designed for that. And then there's a recruitment, which this is just like a little bonus add-on. If you want to do recruiting, you can manage leads to potentially recruit. So we have an opt-in workflow if you want to run ads to get somebody to apply for whatever business development rep, loan officer, processor.
Nice.
And then there's a recruitment manager, which is basically a button where you can click hired or dead end. So that way it tags them accordingly, and then they come off your list for like marketing or whatever the case is. Right.
Very
So
cool.
these are basically the 4 systems, and they're pretty involved. Like there's a lot of workflows so that everything's talking to each other and it's working seamlessly in the background. And that's kind of why I didn't get into like I'm doing it this way, because that stuff doesn't matter. We don't care how 2 + 2 = 4. We just care that it does. Right. So moving on, like I want to talk about like onboarding, right? What that looks like. So we have a data loader. I put together a series of videos on how to like upload all of your leads, your clients and your past clients into the system, and then how to upload your leads and referring partners. So like there's always going to be 2 categories. Like think in terms of a realtor, you have a group of realtors that are just leads right now. They haven't referred you business. And then you have a group of realtors that are actually referring you business, right? Because the idea is that you can start using this system right away and start creating opportunities by doing this. So you're going to upload your past clients. You're going to upload your business contacts. So you have a focus list to call people that are actively sending you business. You have I have a 90-day dialer for past clients. And then I have one for sphere of influence too. So for people that don't have any business, like they're brand new, if they wanted to use this system, it's pretty simple. Like you export everybody on your phone using something like Covey, cross all the people off that it gives you like an overwhelming like feeling of anxiety to call them, and whoever's left over that would actually know your name if you called them, you import them into the system as a sphere of influence, and they go right onto a dialer that you can call them every 90 days. And really quick, I'll touch on that because sphere of influence, there's 2 versions of your sphere of influence. Like there's the whole sphere of influence, which, could be consumers and people on your phone. The system knows that once somebody closes, it's removing the sphere of influence tags. It's removing them from that sphere of influence dialer, because now they're going to have a past client tag and they're going to be on the past client dialer. So in terms of like the consumer lender relationship, the past client is just a warmer version of your sphere of influence. It's a sub segment of your sphere of influence, right? So we've identified that. So like if you're somebody that's brand new that doesn't have any leads, any money to buy leads, like at the worst case scenario, you can upload realtor leads and your sphere of influence and get to work, right?
Well, the other thing I like about this, and this is the important part, is getting your data under control. Like getting through it, getting a clean list, getting clean data, getting it in there, getting it tagged properly, and then all you have to do is just worry about is just following best practices, SOPs for getting new data inputted into the system. But once it's in the system, it's tagged, it's categorized, it's clean, and everything is where it needs to be. And I think that's a huge challenge. I mean, that was a huge challenge for me as well. Before you find the right CRM, everything is, you just have applications and maybe closed loans in your LOS, but none of that data is segmented. None of it is categorized. None of it is status properly. So that's another thing that I love, that you put a lot of effort into really segmenting these leads in these stages, so that you're always working off of clean data.
Yeah. And
so important.
Yeah, it is important. And most people don't have it figured out. It's like what you said earlier, like that's what I do best. Like I'm very organized when it comes to my data, because I mean, you want to quote Carl White again, like we're in the marketing to our database business, right? And we just happen to be offering this widget today.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the next thing is social optimization, right? Like a lot of people don't do this. Like you should have on everything, on your LinkedIn, your Facebook, your every Twitter, whatever. You should have your profiles optimized to convert. And what does that mean? I don't know. A little tagline about who you are. I mean, you could say like me, I'm a snowboarder, I'm a dad, I'm a husband, and I'm also a mortgage professional, right? So whatever your tagline is, but you should always have a link to get people to start the process. I personally use my mobile business card, which I've created a mobile business card for my users. It's part of your onboarding that gets set up. And the mobile business card just has, they can call or text a Twilio number, which is going to bring them right into the system, right? They can do like a purchase qualifier, which is like a survey-based funnel. They could do a refinance review, which is a survey-based funnel. They can apply now, which will have your link to your online application. They can schedule an appointment that has your calendar link, which again, if somebody schedules an appointment, it brings them right into the system, right? So,
Yeah.
and that's what I encourage people is to go, now that you're signed up and you have access to these funnels, and they're not just funnels like, great, it's a landing page that you get an email about a lead. No, that's not the case. When people go through these funnels, they come into the system and they're going to go through a process where in most cases, automated follow-up is going to happen and they're going to be put on a pipeline as an opportunity. Right. So that's it. And then obviously another part of social optimization is having that call to action. So I feel like a lot of people miss that is they go on there, they talk about this, that, the other thing. And then half the people don't even know, like, should I reach out to Brad? Can Brad help me? Or is he just like regurgitating information, right? So like, depending on what you're talking about, you should have a call to action. So you could put your calendar link in there. You could put your business card. You could put a mortgage survey if you're talking about refinance or whatever the case is, or you could just put your Twilio number, click, call me on this number. Any one of those things here are going to drive them into the system, right? And that's the whole idea, is that like Cerberus, the word Cerberus, the meaning, he was like the three-headed guard dog from Greek mythology that you may or may not be aware of, but his job was to guard the gates of Hades, and he would prevent souls from leaving. Right. So that's the idea behind that name, is that if you come into the CRM, you can't leave. Like, obviously you can opt out, and we're going to have that. But the whole idea is to get every opportunity into the system. So it's not just a way to generate leads and manage contacts. It's a way to get them in. Right.
Yep.
The next is website optimization. So you get a chat widget that you could put right onto your website, and it'll bring people that chat with that widget into the system. You can add your mortgage surveys to your website. You can add your calendar to your website so people could book time. You put your Twilio number on your website, so that way you never miss a call. Remember, there's that missed call text that goes out if you do miss a call. And then you can actually add your review widget where people can see all your reviews right on your website, which is going to help with testimony, right?
Love this. Yeah. Yeah.
And then as far as like consumer outreach, like I said, there's two dialers for past clients and sphere of influence. So like I have a VA that's calling our past clients, and her job is to ask for a review and ask for business, right? Sphere of influence, you just say hello and then you ask for business. So we made it in a way that, like the dialer, what happens is it loads a call, and then after that call is made, 90 days from now, it automatically loads that call again. So it just does it on repeat forever, right? So you don't have to think of who do I need to call. Like you just and that's it. You don't have to pick a day to call past clients either. You could say, hey, I have like 5 or 10 minutes. Let me call a couple people.
Yeah.
Right?
You're always going to have a list of somebody that was contacted 90 days ago.
Exactly. And like I tell people, like a lot of people have call reluctance. So why not have like 10 good conversations before you have potential scary ones, right? So start your morning off, call your past clients, call 10 of them, have some good conversations, and then move into partner acquisition. Now you're on fire because you're talking mortgage, you're having conversations, and nothing can go wrong, right? So that's kind of how we did that. The partner acquisition, this is the hugest, like one of the biggest parts of the system. So we have a pre-appointment workflow, and what we've been trained, like what we do in my mortgage business, is we call realtors qualified agents every single week for 12 weeks to schedule an appointment, right? So we have 5 pre-appointment workflows. So there's a list 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way through 5. And each list represents a day. So 1 would be Monday, 2 would be Tuesday. Some people only make the calls 1 day a week, but if you want to do partner acquisition 5 days a week, you can. And what it does is you load realtors into this list, and then they'll get loaded to the dialer. And then when you make that call, before next week, they're going to be loaded into the dialer again. So it's just a series of loading them into the dialer for 12 weeks straight, right?
Mm.
So you don't have to think about it. Like, you just add people to that pre-appointment partner acquisition workflow, right?
Yep.
Then were you gonna say something?
No. I was gonna say you're adding the new ones in there, but the ones that are already in there they're going back into the dialer pipeline once a week.
So they're already in there. So like, it's a workflow where it's manual call, there's a wait step, manual call, wait step, manual call, wait step. So basically they just work their way through, and those manual calls are just adding them to the dialer. So like, every week they get added back to the dialer, and then you could just manage how many people. So like, if you're doing 30 a day, you can have a smart list created that if they're in this pre-appointment dialer, show on this list. And if they are, then you can track, okay, there's 29 people in here. Before I start making my calls today, I'm going to add one more person so I can stay at 30. So that way you can manage how many people are in that pre-appointment, because people are going to opt out or they're going to have an appointment with you, right?
Yeah.
So then there's a post-appointment dialer, right? And what happens is, when an appointment is had, so if you're using your calendar bookings from within the system, which you could book an appointment right from somebody's contact page for like a partner mastermind, if the appointment is marked showed, it's going to trigger to put them in the post-appointment calls workflow. And when it goes in there, it's going to tag them properly. It's going to do all these things, and it's going to remove them from the pre-appointment workflows if they're in them. And then 2 hours later, it's going to send them a text message thanking them for meeting with you today. And then 15 minutes after that, which it's going to reference in the text, it's going to send an email on how to refer business, right? Which we're going to get into, but it gives them your Twilio number, your email, and a link to your business card, which has a referral tracking form on it, which we'll get into, right? So now we're calling cold agents to meet with that are qualified. They meet with us. It's automatically putting them on the post appointment. It's doing the immediate text. It's doing the immediate email. That Sunday, it thanks them at 11:30 in the morning, because their meeting with you was the highlight of your week, right? And then Monday, it loads them into the dialer. And then once that call is made, it waits until the following Monday to load them into the dialer. And it does that again now for another 12 weeks, because the goal is to reach out to them. There's an actual field, so it indicates which week they're in every time it's loaded to the dialer. So if you want, you can have 12 topics to discuss. So like, for instance, on week 2, I call and say, hey, Scott, just checking in, man. Hey, have you ever heard of HomeBot? Like, I have a lot of agents using it. They're loving it. We're generating listings from it, leads. Just wanted to see if you had some time to chat about it. So now, rather than just calling and asking for business, you have an agenda, where you're providing value to them, and it's all indicated by which week of the dialer they're in, right?
Man, yeah.
Now, you'll agree that the whole idea of this is to get a referral. So we have we call it referral tracking. It's on the mobile business card, and there's an internal one, but it's basically a referral form to submit a referral. And the agents can do it from your mobile business card, or you can just do it yourself if you get like a lead via email. And what you're doing is you're putting the lead's information, you're putting their objective, whether they're purchasing or refinancing, and then you're putting the referral source. And there's 3 categories, like, client, friend or family, business partner, or realtor, right? So if you pick realtor and then they put their information, or you put it in there for them, what happens is it'll add or update the referral partner. So if they're not already in the system, it'll put them in the system. If they're already in the system, it'll just update them. And what it does is because just like the consumers, we have stage tags for partners as well. It's lead and referring and dead end, right? So if you fill that form out, it's going to add the referring tag, and it's also going to put their most recent referral date on there, being today when that lead is submitted. And it's also going to remove them from the pre-appointment and post-appointment workflows, right? So it's all automated, right? And now you have focus lists, because you can actually create a smart list, 2 smart lists in the system based on if they have the tag realtor and the tag referring, and their most recent referral date was within the last 90 days, that's going to be your A list, right? Because they're actively sending you business. And then if they have the tag realtor and they have the tag referring, and they haven't sent you a deal in the last 90 days, that their most recent referral date was longer than 90 days ago, then they're going to be your B list, right? So you might market to them differently. Like your B list, you might have an assistant reaching out, or a loan partner, or a VA, or you might just doing outreach every 90 days instead of every week. So
Yeah.
now we have a focus list of agents that are actively sending us business. And then we do email marketing for those agents. So like every single week, we have an email list where if you're a realtor and your DND is no, and you don't have these like spam, complaint, unsubscribe, or bounce tags, then you email market to them every single week right from within the system.
Wow. All right. Well, we got to bring this thing in for a landing. I'm just absolutely blown away, and I've actually seen under the hood and how you put together these campaigns, and it's just brilliant. So, what I really want people to take away here is just understanding what the mind of a CRM architect, especially somebody who's in the mortgage industry, building this for yourself. Like you've hit every pillar of business that you have 100% control over. And that's one of the things that I try to tell people in markets like this, where rates are a little bit high, inventory is a little bit low. We can sit there and complain that this isn't 3 years ago and we don't have 3% interest rates, or we can focus all of our time and energy on the things that we have control over. And we have control over our prospecting efforts. We have control over our communication and building relationships with referral partners. We have control over how we love on our past clients and build our reputation and our referrals from our past clients. And man, you've got everything. You just hit everything. Are there any other high level? High level. Are there any other high level features that you want to kind of share that we didn't get? But I mean, we're going to put a link so that people can contact you. I don't have a relationship with you. I don't get anything for promoting this. I just think you're brilliant. And I want people to be exposed to people like you thinking about things like this. And so that's why we're doing this. I hope people follow up and take you up on this. And, if you've been trying to figure out CRMs in your mortgage business, I would hook my wagon up to Brad's thing in a heartbeat. And then what you have to do, I mean, quite frankly, and let's have this conversation, Brad, it doesn't do your job for you, but if you do your job, it will keep you organized and it'll keep you on track. You have to still go in there and you have to use it. Right? You have to use the system. You have to make sure you're putting clean data in. You have to make sure you're clearing out your call lists, or things are going to get gummed up and things are going to get worked up. Like, what advice do you give to people? Okay, now you bought it. How do you make sure that you're going to be successful with a CRM, any CRM platform? I would imagine, but you seem like you've done most of the build out, whereas a lot of these CRMs, you had to build it out yourself, but you've thought of everything is what it appears.
Yeah, I would love to address that if in 2 minutes or less. I'll do 2 more features really quick that I think is important to mention, and then that last thing will kind of bring it to a head. So the main thing is on that point you just said about control, right? Like that. But there's actually with traffic, there's 3 types of traffic. Traffic you control, you don't control, and you own. So believe it or not, like the partner acquisition, the referrals, the database stuff, you don't control that traffic. Some of it you own if they're in your CRM, but you don't control when somebody refers you or that they refer you and that person calls you. Right. So now we have part of the system where you can create traffic that you actually control. Right. So we have My Lead Hacker, which is basically gives you the ability to launch an ad in 3 clicks using our proven templates. There's a direct integration with Facebook, or you can run, if you're running a lead form, there's a direct integration. So you just add the lead form to the corresponding workflow. Or if you use the landing page, which is one of the surveys, it's already connected. But you can run a first-time home buyer ad. The VA one we're still testing. You can promote a listing or you can promote an open house, and you're going to get leads for the first-time home buyers probably anywhere from $2 to $8 a piece, depending on if you're using a lead form or the landing page. The listing promotion, open house promotion, we're seeing leads at like $2 a piece.
Yep.
This is a great way to build that real estate relationship, because now you can promote their listings, their open house,
Yep.
and basically you're just feeding your database. If nothing comes out of it as far as the relationship goes, you're still adding leads to your database, right?
Yep. Yep.
The second is the open house sign-in. So we created what's called a URL generator. So we have one open house sign-in funnel, which is a name, an email, and a phone number. You go to the URL generator, you put your open house sign-in page URL there, you put the address of the property, the realtor's first name, and the realtor's last name. And what it does is it creates a new URL with UTM parameters, right? Scott, you're familiar with UTM parameters.
Yep.
So now you don't have to keep creating new open house funnels for every agent. You just create the URL and you can actually go to the open house with them and work the door so they could do what they do best. And now everybody that signs in, it comes into the system, it tags them, it puts them on the pipeline, does the automated follow-up, and puts the lead source for that open house and realtor, so you can send them the list of sign-ins via CSV after the fact, right?
Yeah.
So those are two ways to get leads, that essentially you're controlling that avenue. And then as far as like, we kind of talked about the leads and converting leads, it's really the system. Is it hard to use? So like, it's all set up, it's working, and it's easy to use. All you have to do is come into it every day, manage your conversations, manage your tasks, manage your appointments, and then manage opportunities, right? And then you're sending weekly emails. So what we recommend is you send a weekly email to realtors, you send a weekly email to everybody tagged as lead. So you send them an email this week, next week, and the third week. And in the fourth week, you send an email to everybody tagged as consumer, because that's all encompassing. It's leads, client, and closed clients. We don't want to email our clients and closed clients every week, because it's going to get overwhelming. Nobody wants to get mortgage emails every week, right?
Yep.
You're running the power dialers, and then you're doing reactivation, which is something we didn't talk about. We have a process that anybody that comes in, that opts in, the system, because you're working contacts and you're working opportunities. The main thing is opportunities are people that have their hand up that want to take the next step. So like, you have the automated texts and emails going out. You're doing the weekly emails to anybody with a tag lead. But then on top of that, my team, what we do is we call everybody in the opt-in stage with the open status every day for 30 calendar days. And then what happens is if they don't convert to prospecting, because there's only two stages, it's opt-in and prospecting. If they don't convert, the system will automatically identify that as a stale opportunity. And now the status is going to get changed to abandoned. So now they fall off your filter criteria for that list. So you're not calling them every day. However, you're sending a message to them every 30 days with, are you still interested in buying a house? Or refinancing your home, right? Because a lot of people, they're not ready. They're just trying to gather information. So the reactivation campaigns work really well, and we do it based on opportunities. We're not just running random people that we can't actually, determine when they opted in through this campaign. So it's really simple to use.
Yeah, I know it sounds complex, but again, that's why I wanted to have you on here to have this conversation, because you don't have to know how it works. You just have to log into it and you have to work the system. And that's what an effective CRM does, or that's what an effective marketing system does. And this thing is hand built from the ground up for mortgage originators. And you've literally thought of almost everything. I know you've still got, you're always working on new features. I know there's a new AI integration that you've been kind of playing with ChatGPT, with the chatbot. Yeah. So you've thought of just about everything here. And that's pretty amazing. Okay, so we got white labeled websites and ChatGPT chatbots are coming up.
Yeah, because a lot of people I talk to don't have websites, so I'm going to build something that's white labeled. And then the ChatGPT, it's like I'm using it right now. It fully booked an appointment. Like I acted like a consumer, and it had the entire conversation with me, and then booked me right to a calendar. I just need to figure out how I add that. It's probably going to be a premium membership. I haven't figured out the cost, because every time you're sending posts into Chat GPT, it's costing money for,
Yep.
whatever the case is. So I haven't figured that part of it out, and I haven't broken it enough yet to really launch it. But that is what's up. That's what's next for Cerberus CRM.
You're just like, you're like me. It's like, I'm not testing it out. I'm just trying to break it.
Yeah.
And I'm great at it. It's, that's kind of my reputation with all my software friends is I call myself the exterminator because I always find the bugs. I'm always going in there and finding something that's buggy and reporting back to them. Well, hey, brother, I really appreciate this. I appreciate you coming on here. Do you have a screen with contact information or anything on there? Okay, there you go.
Well, I have. This is if you want to get started, but if and you could see the spelling of my name right here under my video. I'm assuming it's showing up. If it's not, it's Brad Brondt. So it's if you go to www.bradbrondt.com, that's my business card. And what it'll do is it'll actually take you to so I'll just show it to you really quick.
Sure.
So bradbrondt.com.
Yeah, we're gonna put the link down in the description.
Yeah, so just so nobody's confused, there's a software guy and a mortgage guy. If you want to see what the business card looks like that you get, you click on the mortgage guy. It's going to take you there. Okay. So this is something I threw HomeBot on there. If you want to see, actually learn more about the CRM, which I'm assuming is the case, hit the software guy and it's going to take you to my software business card. Which there's actually a video on there, like what is CRM. So this will give you a bird's eye view of all the features. You can schedule a demo right from there. You can email, call, text me, whatever the case is. So
and all of this is actually part of your system.
Correct. Yeah. The mortgage business card, they get a version of that. And it's fully optimized to convert. It has all the links bringing people into the system.
All right. Well, brother, I appreciate this. This has been fascinating. I could have done this for 2 hours, honestly. I know we are only getting started, but I feel good. I feel like we exposed my audience to what it takes to think out and map out a contact automation system like what you built, and you did an amazing job. And I can't wait to see what you do with it in the future. And we'll definitely get you coming back at another time to dig into it even a little bit deeper. But thanks, man. I appreciate it. Do you have any final thoughts here?
No, man, I just appreciate you having me on the call today. And man, we spent an hour together for the last 3 weeks in a row, man. There's nothing better than hanging out with Scott.
I know. It's so much fun. I hope we don't put too many people to sleep, but this stuff is absolutely fascinating to me. And I'm just so glad you were able to, I appreciate you building this and I appreciate you sharing. So until I see you next time, we'll grab another hour in the next week or two.
Sounds good, brother.
All right. Thanks, Brad. We'll talk to you soon, man.
All right, Scott. Thanks.
Bye.